Welcome back to On Deck Circle Podcast. I am your Toronto Blue Jays fan host, Nick Z, over here with my very good friend named Jason. Jason, how are you today?
Doing good, Nick. We're in the dog days of summer. I think at this point we've had crazy results as well as disappointing results. So
Indeed.
baseball is dog days almost.
Yep, we are officially there. I'm excited. Let's jump right on into it with the cool little question of the week. Obviously, I am not an actual Toronto Blue Jay fan. I am a Boston Red Sox fan. But I do want you to tell me, is Trey Yesavage a buy? 3, 2, 1, go. All right, Jason, what do we got?
Yeah, this one's intriguing to me because Trey Savage was obviously a top prospect in the organization for a while, and then came up last year and had a crazy run for the Blue Jays in their World Series run where they went to the World Series with the Dodgers, and he had I just had it up. He basically only gave up more than more than 2 runs once, and that was against the Mariners in the ALDS. Sorry, the ALCS. But yeah, this year now, going to 2026, he had a bunch of helium last year going into the season. Obviously, went through that insane postseason. But this year now he's got 42 innings pitched, 3.16 ERA, 2.79 xERA, a 1.17 WHIP. He's only got a 4% home run to fly ball rate. That xERA of 2.79 ranks in the top 20% of the league. He induces a ton of weak contact. And if you look at it, the overall numbers, it looks like a buy. My problem with the buy right now, though, is I think you might be getting it. You might have missed the window. Because there's a little bit of discourse and back and forth in the offseason, like, well, was that repeatable what we saw in 2025? But when you look at his pitch mix, he's not like, he's got 3 solid pitches that he's pitching at a really good mix. The split finger has been really his bread and butter. It's basically untouchable at this point. Hitters are only batting a 152 against the split. He has a 43% whiff rate against the split finger. And the chase rate is actually slightly down this year, which sits about 30, right above. I mean, it's down, but it's right above 30%. So right now, when you look at the Savage, I think, to me, he is a buy. However, I think it needs to be like an asterisk of like, I don't know if I'm really willing to give up the whole farm for Trey Yesavage. I like what I see from him, but if the price tag gets too high for the seller, then I might be out on him because he doesn't really do anything that's like he's a great young pitcher, but that's about it. But like the overwhelming numbers of the 25% strikeout rate, he pitches in the AL East. There's just things that are just like I'm not all in on a Trey Yesavage that would cause me to kind of keep the price tag at a minimum.
Yeah,
buying price tag.
I'm pretty close to you there. One thing I do want to point out is on May 30th, he had 7 walks.
Yeah.
Which is tough. He's been kind of in and out of the control, like 3, 4, 2, 7, 2, 2 walk wise. He's not really going deep into games yet. We're still, I think, only 2 quality starts. 1, 2, 3 quality starts so far. Just to bring up an example of the cost, about a week, maybe 2 ago, I was offered Trey Yesavage for Cade Anderson, Kai Witherspoon, and Jason Eli Willits. It was an easy no for me.
Yeah.
I have gushed about Cade Anderson weeks and weeks on this podcast. I think he's going to be better than Trey Yesavage as soon as he's up. I think the Yesavage hype was more or less just because of that postseason we saw. So if we're doing buy sell, I'm selling Trey Yesavage just because I think you should be able to get something. I don't know if he's a frontline starter, and that's kind of the only pitching prospect I'm willing to hang on to is that frontline starter, because you can get a 2, 3, 4 SP on your team in other ways. So I would just deal him.
Yeah, you nailed the good points there. The walk rate has been, really high this year. It's up at 11% this year. He's only striking out about a batter per inning. It's not that overpowering power pitch that you look for at the top of your rotation. His fastball velocity only sits around like 94 miles an hour, so he's more of like a mid-90s guy. Doesn't induce a lot of ground balls. Just doesn't have that, like, you need a strikeout because the bases are loaded in like the second inning and you're looking for your starter to get out of a jam. He's not that guy. I don't think he's looking to more like, pitch to contact, which obviously is not going to be a ground ball in his stances. So the price tag has definitely been, as you alluded to, very high for Trey Yesavage. The win potentials are there. Quality starts, like I said, are not there as of yet if you're in a quality start league. Win league is great because I think he's gone in 5 innings, all but 2 games. But those games were also awesome. So he pitched well, just they'd elected to get him out of there, maybe to avoid the third time through. I think that's kind of what's been happening here with Trey Yesavage. Teams are electing, or sorry, not teams. The Blue Jays are electing to not put him through the third time through the order, which is obviously the starting pitcher's weakest performance generally, is the third time through the lineup. So Blue Jays are avoiding that. So, yeah, I would definitely not be selling him I would be selling him if someone offered me Eli Willits, Cade Anderson, and Kai Winterspoon, because that's a smash.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that's a smash. So yeah, Trey Yesavage is buy with the asterisks of don't overpay for him. Let's get into our next guy here. Someone we've talked about plenty of times on this show, Sal Stewart of the Reds. I think we talked about him in our pre-show with our top first base prospects. Yep. We talked about him, I think, in the beginning of the year if he was a buy or sell, and that was at the beginning of the year. But right now, Sal Stewart, first baseman of the Reds, slashing .254, .352 with a .460 slug, 13 home runs, 10 stolen bases, 42 RBIs, 36 runs. It's good enough for a 120 WRC plus. Those 13 home runs ranks second among all rookies behind only Munetaka. Those 42 RBIs leads all rookies. He's got a great approach to the play. He's only striking out 19% of the time, walking 10% of the time, making really good quality contact. He's got a 15% barrel rate, which ranks in the top 10% of the league. The average exit velo of 90 miles an hour ranks in the 75th percentile of the league. The xWOBA, the xLog, all rank near the top of the league. So he's everything in that it was advertised going into the season. My biggest concern with Sal Stewart was the home runs. Was he going to be able to hit enough home runs? We knew the hit tool was there, but the power showing out too. Again, 13 home runs as a rookie in only basically a month and a half, 2 months of the season. My biggest question now, though, with the 13 home runs, even as a rookie, will we see enough home runs for a first baseman when it comes to fantasy? Right? When you think first baseman, you think fantasy wise, you're looking 35 plus. So that's to be determined. But he's also a great start, 13 home runs in 2 months. So where are you at on sale? Buy or sell, or what's up with you?
So right now we're halfway through June. We have passed the point of it's too early to say someone's struggling or not. But something came across my desk that's interesting. Sal Stewart, since April has ended, is hitting .231, on base percentage of .324 with a slug of .354. 23% K percentage, only 3 home runs and 3 stolen bases. Obviously, this is not Sal Stewart. But I also think we should point out that April was not Sal Stewart either. So we shouldn't expect 10 home runs a month from this guy, especially with the profile that's kind of leans more contact first, which is fine.
Mhm.
It's needed. It's great. But to answer your question, I don't I don't think he can hit 25, 30 home runs on a regular basis, which is kind of what you're depending on for that first baseman.
Yep.
But like it really all kind of depends on your build. Like if you have, let's say, Judge and Bellinger. I don't know why I said Bellinger. Judge and another power hitting.
Schwarber.
Yeah,
Schwarber.
perfect. And Schwarber. Then yeah, Sal Stewart, great first baseman to have. Perfect. But like if you're counting on 30 home runs from your first baseman, then Sal Stewart is not your guy. Um, Honestly, this is probably another sell for me, just because of that. I'm kind of one of those people that is depending on your first baseman to bring power because I like my outfielders to be kind of speedy and you're getting stolen bases from them and you're not really getting the 40, 50 home run pop that you kind of need towards the end of the year. There is something I would like to look into, which I'm sure someone already has, is just like team builds and how many home runs your team should have by the end of a season.
Yeah, there is. Our
Yeah.
good, our old co-host Dave Eddy famously had come up with that Roto like cheat sheet for TGFBI where you could plug in like your projected stats, and as long as you were in, I think it was like 1% of the total fraction of like what the first like three guys had in TGFBI or something like that. It was a really good tool. I thought we still had it, but I can't remember. I think we may have negated that. But anyways, yeah, and that goes in the team build, like you said, like you're compiling in roto leagues enough home runs off a projected value, if it's enough. Yeah. So,
all right, shout out Dave Eddy.
Yeah, the for home runs right now, right, we're basically almost at halfway mark for a hitter of Sal Stewart's caliber. He's at 67 games played, which in total would be like what as a rookie season when he'd compile almost 130 starts. Even if you jumped it up a little bit to like 140, 150, most of the projection sites have him at like 25 to 30 this year. So it'll be interesting to see if he stays on this pace because we're at like they basically just are doubling his totals right now because we're basically almost at half the season for a fantasy production. So yeah, I'm curious to see what happens with Sal Stewart in the power department. Would love him as like your corner infielder, right? If you have like
yes, perfect spot, Jason. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. He's like, and then hopefully down the road, if the power continues to develop and mature, he can then slide over to your first base slot. But yeah, still only 22 years old, so still has a lot of time to develop as the power goes on. And I like what I've seen out of Sal Stewart so far, and I think you can definitely get if you are in the selling boat, you could definitely get a nice return on Sal Stewart. But again, buying him, but not giving. It's similar to like Trey Yesavage. He's a young rookie, right? So it's like there's still a lot of unprovenness with him. So I'm buying him, but not overpaying. Which is kind of funny because I'm looking at the next guy we're going to talk about here. And this is another guy that we continued to talk about over and over again on this show. Chase DeLauter, the Cleveland Guardians. Talked about him preseason as I think on our top outfield prospects. Then he makes the debut. The team out of spring training. But he's kind of slowing down. Doesn't seem like it, but he's slowing down after a super hot start to the year. He's slashing 254, 328. He's only slugging 398. So the power numbers have really come down for Chase. But the approach to the plate is still that of a veteran. 10% walk rate. He's only striking out 13% of the time. 34 RBIs, which ranks top 5 among all rookies. Was that only 8 behind Sal Stewart, who was in the lead. But 7 home runs total. 4 of those came in the first week of the season.
Yeah.
So we're seeing a little bit of maybe more of what Chase DeLauter is as the season goes on, which is still a great, to me, like 4th or 5th outfielder. Really nice on base percentage, batting average, but I think he's more of a hit first, but not more. And I don't think he is showing what he basically did in the minor too, which is like he's a hit over power outfielder. Doesn't steal a ton of bases. So to me, he's a sell if you have him in Dynasty. I don't know what you're going to get from him at this point because the sell window may have been about a month ago. But when you look at like the course of the season, like the approach at the plate and the batting average, all that has all stayed pretty steady over the first 3 months of the season, which has also been just like a really good hitter, but the power has dwindled significantly.
Yeah.
Where you at on Chase?
I'm still probably in on him. Mostly because these outfield positions, especially the leagues where like you need specific outfield spots, so like a right fielder, center fielder,
Oh yeah,
left fielder. Like there's got to be a point where like so many, if he's your third outfielder, you should be like in like okay to decent shape. Fourth would be great. Fifth would be amazing, honestly. But I'm more interested just like after this season, what the full stat line looks like. Like if he gets, let's say 20 home runs, maybe 25 is a bit of a stretch, but
yeah,
like another 13 home runs isn't like that's
yeah.
pretty good. Um, as you were talking, I was trying to think of a comp for him, and then in my head, I was like Stephen Kwan, but that's not it. But like it's kind of like a souped up Stephen Kwan. Like he has power. He does not steal bases, but he's gonna get on base. He's gonna hit for like decent to above average. Um, so I'm definitely still in on Chase. I'd be buying him wherever I can. Same league as the Trey Yesavage. The owner offered me Chase DeLauter for Kate Anderson straight up. I rebuffed because again, I'm dying with Kate Anderson in my hands in that league.
Yeah, just quickly looking up, I want to look back. I remember when when he was part of the FYPD class. I remember he was falling because of the power. Great hitter first, but then obviously no power. And I'm looking back now, his 7 home runs this year right now is one off of his career high, and that's dating back to his 2022 season with James Madison. So we are right now, he gets 2 more home runs, he's at a career high. So and the fact that he hit 4 of them in 1 week to start the season leads me to believe that this is what we're going to get from him. And I think 20 might even be a stretch.
Yeah.
We're hoping to get to 15 at this point.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, don't get me wrong. I mean, all of his seasons have been way shorter. Like for game wise and plate appearances, all kind of in line. So even if you extract out the data to go to full season, he's at 42 games right now. So if you triple it, you'll be just getting to 21. But 4 of those came in 1 week. So if we're lucky, he gets to 20 home runs. So this is definitely what we're seeing the trend continue with Chase is this no power, hits for a high average, no speed. So take it for what you want. If you want a guy, in your 5th outfield, 4th outfield position that's going to give you some good ratios and score runs, he's your man.
Yeah. Especially the Guardians. I kind of trust them.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's crazy because like they trust him so much as a rookie. He hits primarily in the 2-hole.
Yeah.
So like they know what they're getting with him, which is a guy that's going to get on base and set the table for the rest of the lineup. So yeah, that's where you're banking on. You're getting from DeLauter. So if you can somehow sell him for a good package right now, I would be all in on that. Just because he doesn't have a ton of fantasy upside. Someone that I am slowly falling head over heels for.
Oh,
which is funny because it's another Baltimore Orioles catching prospect or rookie at this point, not even prospect. He's made his debut. Sam Basallo, who I was not in on as a prospect. I was like, this is just another line of, infield / catcher prospects for the Orioles, which we've seen them time and time again just continue to churn these guys out. But he's proven me wrong, man. He's having a great start to this season. He's batting 257. He's got a 785 OPS. That OPS ranks in top 10 among all rookies. His slashing line looks nice, but the advanced stats suggest that it could be even better. His xWOBA, x batting average, x slug, barrel rate, hard hit rate, all rank in the top 25% of the league. He's having a ton of success on all types. So he's not just like feasting on fastballs. He's hitting all forms of pitches: fastballs, breaking balls, curve, off speed. His worst pitch being the breaking pitches, but he's still batting 230, and 3 of his home runs have come against breaking pitches. So he looks to be the part. He's a catcher eligibility, so in 2 catcher leagues and even 1 catcher leagues, I'm buying Basallo. Especially, my one thing I will say though is he may eventually lose catching eligibility depending on how your league rules are set up. But with Adley coming, still there and looking like the catcher that he's been known to be, I'm not sure how many starts Basallo is going to get behind the plate moving forward. So you may only get 1 year of catching eligibility for Basallo. So something to think about going forward in dynasty leagues is the position eligibility. But yeah, man, I'm sad that I missed the Basallo prospect train because I have no shares of Basallo anywhere, and I may have to change that and buy him up somewhere.
Yeah, he's great. He's still only 21. He's a big, beefy boy. I think he's going to be – I don't know. I think you're going to really regret it in like 2 years. But I am with you on the losing of the eligibility of catching just because it's very hard. It's easy to throw someone in at catcher, especially with the Basallo profile. Just because it's like, well, like, what else am I going to get? There's probably only like 4, maybe 5 catchers I'd rather have than Basallo right now. Whether it's like Contreras, even like Adley's been awesome, man. I was kind of a dick to Adley for like the last like 18 months, but he's really kind of showed up and kind of showed out. I'm interested in contract wise. I don't know where he's at, but like, where is maybe Basallo can like overtake him, because I don't think the Orioles will pay Adley, at least like past whatever contract he's currently on, but still only 21. I think he will have catching eligibility again, even if he loses it. Because even if like you look at his catching, it's not terrible. It's not good, but it's not bad. So yes, love Basallo.
Real quick. Yeah. Adley has 1 more year of arbitration eligible, and then he's a free agent. So
yeah. So like Basallo continues to split. I don't know if he's like has a full split now.
Yeah, well, he had kind of come up when Adley was hurt.
Yeah.
And was getting all the catching starts. And now Adley's back, and I think they're kind of just like bouncing back and forth between the two on who's catching and whatnot. So one thing I will say though, they probably want to give Adley more DH than Basallo just because he's more. Yeah. Now he's proven to be more injury prone. Adley, that is. So I feel like he would get more bulk behind as the DH than Basallo, but I don't have the numbers exactly. I'm looking it up a little bit here, but they're pretty even on splits as far as catching and DHing. So yeah, it could be 2 years and then Adley's on a different team and Sam Basallo is the starting catcher for the Orioles. So yeah, exactly. I'm head over heels for Basallo. Now I'm worried that the price tag may be a little too high. 2 catcher league, it's almost impossible. You'd have to give up like your first round pick and top prospects and stuff. So I'm out on that sense. But speaking of top prospects, let's jump in to, according to the MLB pipeline, the number 1 prospect in all of baseball, Jesus Mate. Again, another reoccurring name on the on-deck circle. We were even corrected on phonetically how to say his name, and we have it now, Jesus Mate. But he's been a force, and just, it pains me to say it as a Cubs fan. The Brewers they just get it, man. Especially when it comes from an international market. this is what after like what's Trio been around for 2 years, I
Yeah.
think, and now they're on deck of having the next superstar international prospect. Yeah, it was a forced to low minors. He's now in his first full year at Double A. Super advanced hitter for his age. Still only 19 years old. He's at Double A already. Tons of speed. 21 stolen bases in 55 games this year. The strikeouts are down. The power still not quite where I'd like, but again, he's only 19 years old. So what do you expect? This guy's like a freshman in college. What freshmen in colleges are hitting home runs and they're using metal bats? Yeah, this guy, right off the heels of Jackson Churio, they got a next guy here. And the funny thing is they have a very interesting choice to make, the Brewers. Well, I mean, they've been moving Hamade around a lot at the diamond. They've been giving him starts at second and third, but they have no shortstop at the major league level. I mean, they're literally starting David Hamilton as their shortstop, but they just signed Cooper Pratt to that huge extension and then never even brought him up. So now they have Made and Cooper Pratt, who are two awesome top 100 prospects, one of them being the number one overall prospect in 19-year-old Jesus Made. This is the example that always makes me mad because these are the type of guys, Jesus Made, who was probably drafted in like the third or fourth round of your FYPD, and it was taken by the guy that's like, I don't mind waiting 6 years, and then he turns into be a superstar, and he actually has to wait like 3 years.
Yeah,
and there's probably guys in that, what was it, 2024 class of like the draft that have not even come close to even doing what Made has done now, and people drafted him in the first round, where Made probably slipped to like the second. Like, who's the guy this year that fell? The Giants international.
Yeah, Luis Hernandez.
Yes, who's now making, doing really well for himself this year after being just signed. Maybe I need to start reanalyzing the way I think about international prospects.
Yeah,
because the last few have been making their waves through the minors early and often.
I've been recently. This kind of has to do with Mane. Thinking about. I've been looking at waiver wires and just been like, I wonder how many all-stars are just somewhere here, because these player pools are so large, and like there are 16-year-olds that just signed. Like, there's so much, and like I almost want to start having just like 8 spots of just for international guys, and then see if they pop. Don't cut them for the whole year. See how they pop like the next winter, because that's kind of when I started hearing about Made, was that second winter ball. Well, after his first year into winter ball, that's kind of when you like start seeing these names pop up, because they're like about to debut on the state side.
Yep.
So yeah, this is the Brewers again. They're so smart, but yet don't win. It's so funny because everyone's like, "Oh, the Brewers did it again with Kyle Harrison, with Quinn Priester, with this guy, with that guy." They haven't won anything. So let's just say that.
True. All very valid points. They did make it to the NLCS last year, so
yeah, it doesn't mean anything. So it's very funny to see all of like the Brewers love, because they're like, this is an organization that gets it.
Yeah.
Like, they haven't done anything. They're smart, but they're not. They're too good on the margins and not good enough like with like the balls of it, if that makes sense. I do have a segue into our next guy as well.
Real quick.
Yes.
Kind of, it piqued my interest, so I wanted to pull it up. So Jesus Made was signed he was a J15 signed in 2024, so he would have been part of the 2023 class. I quickly pulled up the 2023 draft class, well, as far as like the MLB draft. To be honest with you, there's like, obviously hindsight's always 2020, but I see maybe one guy that I would take over Jesus Made.
Who is it?
Skeens.
Yeah.
So here's the class that he would have been. I'd rather have Made over. This was the guys that were taken in the top 10 that I'd much rather have Made over, without a doubt. Dylan Cruz, Made. Max Clark, Made. which speaking of which, off topic real quick, Max Clark being a diva before he's even made the major leagues is pissing me off. Wyatt Langford, Made.
Yeah.
Walker Jenkins, Made. Jacob Wilson, Made. Rhett Lauder,
Yeah.
probably
Made,
give me
yeah,
Made
yeah.
too. And the rest, the other ones we don't have to talk about. Chase Dolan, there's no way you're taking him over Made. Blake Mitchell, no way in hell. And Noble Meyer. And even in some notable names, Matt Shaw, give me Made. Kyle Teal, give me Made. Here's a good one. Because he's making rounds, and we may talk about him in the next week or something. Bryce Eldridge or Jesus Made.
That's actually a good one too.
Yeah, really tough. Because Eldridge looks to be all that in the advertised too. But also, yeah, the Brewers. They also, don't forget, they also have the number 5 or either they have a top 10 Andrew Fisher. Andrew Fisher is their third base prospect, who they got in the second round last year, I think, or something. So they just continue to identify great talent, and not just identify it, develop it as well. So give me that segue to the next guy we're talking about.
So we're still talking Made, but then it's gonna be a nice little. Made has been traded twice in my home league. Once for Cole Reagan straight up.
Wow. Which would have been probably not much, probably getting the 2024 season.
Oh, this was a month ago.
Oh. Wow. That's quite the deal.
I traded Cole Reagans to the guy too, so that annoyed me because I was like, I could have got Made.
Yeah.
And I cut Made in this league, so that's fun too. So, and then the guy that got Made just traded him this past week for Leo Vries.
What a segue. The number 2 prospect in all of baseball, according to MLB Pipeline, Leo Vries. He was the main, he was the one of the main returns in the Mason Miller deal. Obviously, traded him away because what does Preller do best? And that's just trade away any prospect that have any value for established. We talk about it all the time, but AJ Preller just runs the Padres like a fancy baseball team, and I love it. He doesn't care. It's almost like the Rams in football being like, we don't need no
fuck them picks.
Yeah. Yeah, Leo Vries, very kind of similar to Jesus Made, not quite as advanced, I feel like, but still a very advanced hitter. Has some pop. He did hit 15 home runs last year. Switch hitter, same with, I forgot to mention, Made is a switch hitter as well. So is Vries. Both these guys are very similar in vein. But if given the choice between Vries and Made, give me the Brewers organization and that development over the Athletics. So for that, I agree with MLB Pipeline. I think it's Made and then Vries. If I had to be given a buy or sell on Vries, I'd probably sell. Made, I'd buy, but I'd buy Made only if I can give up Cole Reagans. But I think at some point now the hype might be too much on Made 2 months into the season. But what about Vries? Where are you at on Leo Vries?
They're really so similar.
So similar.
I'm clicking between both of the
even statistically, even when you look at the statistics, they're almost identical. Obviously, Vries had a little bit more pop, but statistically they're the same. Their frame, they're same. I mean, obviously, Vries is a little bit leaner.
Got 40 pounds on him, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah. When you look at them, if you saw them on TV, you would think that, they obviously have. I don't know how true this is. They have Made listed as 6'1", but I've seen video of Made. He doesn't look 6'1", but he's also 19 years old, so maybe that's what he's gonna be.
Yeah, they're just projecting.
They're projecting his height.
Given the choice, I'm picking Made, but I do think Leo Vries is going to be a good to great player. I'm interested to see where the power lands here, just because shortstop's tough. So he's going to be a shortstop, at least to Vries, just because I don't know. I guess Jacob Wilson, but you can move Jacob Wilson somewhere else. He's a good enough fielder that he can play second base.
Yeah.
I'm curious how the offensive profile looks here, just because in how many at-bats? So he's had just shy of 1,000 at bats. He's only hit 30 home runs. So like,
Right.
it's when I'm looking at these prospects, even same with Mate. Like Mate's not gonna hit you a bunch of home runs. But like we brought up Bryce Eldridge, and like if you're looking at prospects, the prospects on the margins can kind of get lost. Like my Italian guy, Sam Antonacci.
Yeah.
Like he's a great player. Realistically, they probably profile pretty similarly to Leo Vries. Like, I'm
Yeah.
not saying they're the same player, but like you can find this profile somewhere.
Yep.
So whether it's Mate or DeVries, I think I'm selling on hype, trying to just get proven things. Because like again, the offensive profile is fine, but it's nothing that's like amazing because they're not going to hit 40 home runs. They're not 30, even a stretch.
Right.
So I'm very interested to see where they end up. I'm not an owner of any of them anywhere. I've traded them actually in some places, but this is just saying Sam Antonacci's my goat.
Yeah. I love Antonacci too. We talked about him many times on this podcast, and I've drafted him in many of leagues this offseason.
Good.
Or picked him up off a waiver just because of our talks about him. But real quickly before we get out of here, how sick is it going to be? The Athletics are setting themselves up for that 2028 season in Las Vegas with a new stadium, and you have guys like Nick Kurtz, Leo DeVries, Jacob Wilson, Henry Bolt, Shea Langoliers, Tyler Soderstrom. If these guys are all there, they which they most likely will be. I think I have noticed the A's are now kind of grouping these guys all together. And I feel like if it's me just looking from the outside in, I feel like that's what they're doing. They're trying to like build this hype. We've seen it already. They're playing their games in the AAA stadium in Las Vegas in 2026 to try to help hype up the 2028 Athletics. Let's just hope there's baseball then. Because off topic real quick, it does not look good right now from a negotiation standpoint on baseball next year.
Yeah, no. So enjoy these episodes while you can.
Yeah, because there may not be anything to talk about next summer.
Yeah.
All right, Nick. That's another week, another Unlocked Circle podcast episode. We will be back next week, continuing along this run of prospects. I love this prospect talk. Love getting into some of these guys, seeing if we're buying or selling them. But yeah, we'll see you
Jason,
next week.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
You a soccer guy?
No.
Yeah.
I will.
I'm watching it.
Turn it on. I've been watching it too. I've been having it on the background.
Is it in Chicago? There is one,
no, right? No, it's in Mexico.
Yeah, there's some there. So one of the games is, one of the locations is Boston, and the Fan Fest is right outside of my work.
Oh, wow.
It's a nightmare.
Okay. Yeah, no, I think USA is in the Mexico group. Like they're playing in Mexico, I believe. I haven't paid attention to look into it. I just know that I think the game starts at like 9:00 tonight.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And the game last night started at 9:00, was in Mexico. So I'm guessing it's kind of in the same spot.
Yeah.
Same time.
All right.
All right, Nick. We'll catch you next week.
Hey, bro.